Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm here with the Ding Dongs because four of us have been trying to all get on tonight's International Book Club, Pulpit Queens and Timber Guys Book Club. And for some reason, Zoom is in, we don't know, la la land, but we couldn't all get on. We were on all different sites of Zoom, but we got four of us on here.
Yeah, there's 36 people trying to get on though.
There's 36. So Zoom, you need to fix something here because we're not very happy that all of our other friends aren't here, our other 32 friends. But we're here tonight for TK Thorne, who is our book of the month. And you know what, TK, do you have your book in front of you?
I do.
Good, because in the melee of all this, I forgot to grab my book. So yes, we have Behind the Magic Curtain, which is our book of the month. And the wonderful thing about TK is TK thinks outside the box. She not only thinks outside the box, she writes outside the box. She's not one genre. She's probably going to be all of them by the time she finishes her repertoire of writing. And I love every single aspect of each book that she writes, but this one really has quite a story. So before we begin, TK, we have Ruthie Landis here from Chicago, and Kathleen Rodgers is in where are you in?
North Texas.
North Texas.
North Texas.
I keep thinking Clovis, because
Well, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. I know. So we're here tonight, and she has got this book, but we want to know about TK. TK, what were you like as a kid? I want to know, because did you want to be a writer when you were little? What kind of a kid were you? Because I would have liked to hang out with you if I was a kid. What do you say?
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, let's see. What kind of kid was I? I was a tomboy for sure. I climbed trees and I played with the boys. In fact, I think boys were my friends first. And I remember I had a boyfriend when I was like 5 years old, and he kissed me, and I slapped him because that's what I saw in the movies.
Oh, now you have a twin sister. So what did she think about that?
She's not my twin. She's 2 years younger, and she was like the complete opposite of me. She was very feminine. When she was little, she outgrew that. And jumped out of an airplane and all kinds of adventurous stuff. But when she was little, she was very feminine. So we were kind of very opposites as children.
And were there just the two girls, or I'm trying to remember?
3 children, 2 girls. I was the oldest, my sister Laura, and then my brother Danny.
Yeah.
Who is a genius.
Well, so are you. So yeah. Are you. And so you must have been running with the neighborhood boys then.
Yes. Yeah, my brother was 5 years younger, so he would follow after me, but he was too young to really be playing with us.
And so when did you start thinking about becoming a writer?
Well, I was a storyteller from way back. With the neighborhood kids, we would all get together to play, and play consisted of making up a scenario. Mm-hmm. So I got to do that. And that's what I did. And
remember some of the scenarios that you would act out?
I can only remember one. And I remember deciding that there was going to be a queen, and she was going to tell her subject to go do something else, and I said, and I'll be the queen. So I think that's when I discovered that when you tell a story, you get to tell it, and you get to be whatever or whoever you want to be.
Well, we've kind of done that tonight, haven't we? We're all queens, so
that's right. So this is kind of a special thing for me, and it was about doing that, and it was about doing and being and going places that I couldn't do or go otherwise. That's why I like to read. I was a very avid reader, and my first love was science fiction.
Yeah.
I read everything in the juvenile science fiction library in Montgomery. And then there was the adult science fiction was, you had to go up these stairs and go onto this second floor of the adult section where I was not supposed to be. And I would sneak into the adult section. And I remember checking out adult books and getting very tense, worried that I might get arrested.
I think I went upstairs from the children's library from Little Women to Kurt Vonnegut. And I remember putting the book up on the counter and I was like, and she just goes, Stamp, she goes, sign your name. And I walked out of there with Breakfast of Champions. And I was just like so proud that I had an adult book. And I read every book I could find on Kurt Vonnegut. And I think I was probably 11 or 12. Can you imagine? And I went back and read it and I was just scandalized.
That you read that.
But good. And Mrs. Milliken, who was the librarian, she had curly gray hair with those little spectacles. And she just smiled at me. There's your book. And I was just like, wow, this is magic. But I remember playing in the backyard with the neighborhood kids, and we would put on little rascal shows. We'd hang sheets along the clothesline, and then we'd dress up our pets. And we'd, sing the Barbara of Seville as Alfalfa, and everybody wanted to be Darla, and all this stuff. And we charged for these shows. It was like a nickel. So all the neighborhood kids who came to watch had to give us a nickel. Then we'd all ride our bikes like crazy down to the Olson's grocery store to buy our penny candy. And it's, those days, those poor kids, they got to pay $2 for a candy bar. It kind of blows my mind. But I knew you were going to be that way because you talk about your horses. You've got these horses that you're taking care of, and you've been doing this for some time. And anybody that loves to be outside loves animals. And so your husband's out feeding the horses now. That's awesome. So,
I mean, come on. She became a police captain.
That's right, too. We got to go there.
Police captain, martial arts master. I mean, she's a surprise in every way, I swear.
Wonder Woman. I mean it. I mean, everything. Listen, the first time I met her, we were down in Fairhope and we shared a house.
My husband gave me the.
Oh my God, that's so wild that I would say that. But we shared this house and we didn't know each other from Adam, and we were just kind of thrown together for this, deal. And we had the best time, and I brought pie. And we made 2 pies last forever. Everybody came in, you want a piece of pie? And they go, you got pie? Homemade pie? And I go, yeah, we got pie. So I've never seen a pie last so long in my life, but it did. It lasted a long time. And we had a good time. In fact, that's the last time I ever saw Kim. I've never seen her since. Did you know that? I don't know what happened to her. She came with me and I've never seen her since. I think we've kind of freaked her out. But another thing that is very interesting about TK is that she has this love of aliens. And she's always wanted to meet an alien. And I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Well, I told you that my first reading love was science fiction. And so that's just kind of natural. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, to be able to go to different places and explore and meet creatures and have first contact. And that was what I wanted to do. That's why I decided I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. And I was very determined from a young age that that's what I was going to do. And
I think that's why I think that's why we've hit it off, because I am an alien.
I love that, Ruthie. You're a trip. So did you meet any aliens as a police officer?
I met a lot of strange people.
I figured you did. And then, you've done some, and so this was Taekwondo? What is it that you were doing? That you karate?
Neither one of them. So I think we have tomorrow on my post, I'm going to be talking about about how I got into martial arts, but it started in the police department. And this little short man, he was probably about as short as you are, Ruthie, shin high to a grasshopper. And he was at that time, he was in his 70s, I think. And he was a real badass. Okay. I mean, even the great big police officers would try to put something on him and they would end up on the ground. Yeah, he was bad. And he took a liking to me for some reason and told me.
Who wouldn't? I mean, you are the funnest person in the world. In fact, everybody that's listening out there, TK is going to be on our comedy panel of authors at Girlfriend Weekend. And Marilyn Simon Rothstein is going to be the moderator. So God knows what's going to happen.
Lord have mercy. Well, thank you. I'm not sure how to be funny on purpose, but
you don't have to try. Just talk. Just talk. So tell us about this little man in the martial arts.
Okay, so he told me that I needed to go take a martial art called Aikido because of my size and gender put me at a disadvantage. And so I did. In fact, I met my second husband on the mat. That was number 2.
Oh my God. Oh, you're such a funny thing. Oh,
I'm not trying to be funny.
That could be the name. I know. That's why you're so funny, because I met my second husband on the mat. Oh my God. That could be the title of a chapter. And I would so read that. I would so read that. One day you're going to have to write a memoir.
You know where I met husband number 3, right?
I didn't realize there was 3.
Yeah, there's 3 is the one that was out at the barn. So number 3, I was in Vice in the police department. He was in narcotics. So we met there. We actually met on a ping pong table.
On a ping pong table?
But listen, it's funny enough all by itself. You don't have to make it terrible.
Well, it's just the way you said it. I mean,
I did say that.
There's a little paddling going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is doing my heart good, y'all. I needed this. Oh my
I
God.
haven't laughed in days, so I just knew. I was so looking forward tonight, and everybody would be watching this like crazy. But I always have fun when I'm with TK. So I'm so excited that you met number 3, and you're keeping this one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been together for 32 and a half years.
Oh my goodness.
So I think it's a keeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So we've had a wild and varied life. So now let's segue into the story of your story of the civil rights in Birmingham. And that's where you live. And Birmingham, I love to go there for their Sidewalk Film Festival and that beautiful theater. Michael Morris, my friend Michael, I just talked to him right before we came on, lives there. And his wife is the beautiful artist, Melanie Sanderson Morris. So I've been all over Birmingham with those guys. And anyway, you got into writing this book, and how did that come about? Because this is so different from your other book. When you're telling a biblical story, you're telling, and I won't even get into we'll go to the witch stories later, but go ahead and tell us how this book came about.
Well, like everything else in my life, it was an accident. I really never had any interest in particular in civil rights or history in general. But I ended up writing Last Chance for Justice about the 16th Street church bombing case. But that was also just happened to be a friend of mine who happened to be the investigator on the case kind of story. So I did that, and I was really honored that I did it. And then I put it aside, and I'm going back to my police witch stuff. And then I got this email and it came out of the blue, and it came from somebody I didn't even know. And there were other people on the email that I also didn't know. And they were it was like they were in the middle of this conversation. And I was supposed to know what they were talking about, but I didn't. And it turned out that the guy that sent me the email, who was an attorney in Birmingham, is kind of famous, or was kind of famous for just starting in the middle of things. In media res, you've heard that term for writing a story. Well, he began a conversation in the middle of everything. And I got on the email and typed in there, guys, I don't know how I got on your email list, but I don't want to eavesdrop, and you might want to take me off your list. And then this man, whose name was Thomason, said, "Oh no, we won't. We meant for you to be on this email list, and we want to talk to you about a book." Well, the short of that is that I thought they wanted me to talk about Last Chance for Justice with them. So they invited me to another a law firm downtown. And, if it'd been a bar or something, this book wouldn't have been written. But I figured it was pretty safe to go to the law firm. So I did. And I had the same experience, because Thomason was talking and I had no idea what we were talking about. And finally it hit me that they wanted me to write a book about Birmingham in the 60s and untold stories. And I was like, they must think because I wrote Last Chance for Justice that I'm a civil rights expert. So I said, I'm not. Hello. Because I'm thinking there's no way in hell that I want to write this book. And they said, "Oh no, that's not." Thomason said, "That's not the book that made me think you should write this one." And then I'm really bamboozled. Well, what book might that be? And he said, Noah's Wife.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a big jump,
And I had my mouth kind of dropped open, and I said, can you please tell me exactly why that book makes you think I could write this book? And he said, well, I just finished reading Noah's Wife, and anybody that can make me believe that a woman who may or may not have really existed actually existed thousands of years ago. And not only that, but her life was just like you wrote it. That's the person to write this book.
That makes sense to me. It
makes sense to you. I was like, what?
Woohoo! Whoa! And how many men were with you at this law firm?
There were 4 men.
Oh my goodness!
There was a Protestant attorney, a Jewish attorney, a Episcopalian minister or priest or whatever you call them, and the 4th man is the reason I ended up writing this book, because the 4th man was Tom Langford. And Tom Langford had been a reporter for the Birmingham News.
Wow.
The biggest newspaper in the state at that time. And he had been assigned to the police department as his beat. And he was everywhere, as you know, from reading the book. He was everywhere, and there was lots of places that nobody knew he was, recording secret conversations through the police department and all kinds of intrigue and so forth. And as I was leaving that meeting, thinking to myself, no way that I want to tackle this. I knew the big research would have, it's going to take years to even just catch up. And as I was leaving, he asked me if he could send me his notes. He said he had some particular notes that he thought would be a good beginning. And I said, I was going to be polite. Sure, you can send them. So I went back and he emailed them to me, and I read them, and I was hooked.
Oh,
And
You know,
that's,
what an honor to have these, professional men to come to you. That's really an honor. And I'm glad
So
you did.
what hooked you? I want to know what hooked you about his notes. What hooked you?
Yeah.
well, it was a story about one night he was up all night with the vice squad and he came in to the office, and it was part of it was all the details that he had, it was like jumping back in time about what it was like in the press room of a big city newspaper at that time. And so I was kind of swept up into being there and realized he had, that in itself was grabbing. But then he sat down at his desk, and then there was an operator. They didn't there was like a physical woman who was the
Oh yeah.
what do you call it?
Telephone keyboard. Yeah.
Exactly. And she had headphones on, and she's trying to signal to Tom that there's a phone call for you from him. And Tom is like, he knew who it was. It was Vincent Townsend, who was the managing editor of the newspaper, and probably if not the most, one of the most powerful men in the state of Alabama in the 1960s.
Wow.
And I guess I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there was a secret cabal of white men at the University of Alabama in those years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up being all the governor, all people in politics, people behind the scenes, very powerful people who anyway, so Townsend was one of those people, and Tom was also, he was the first non-frat person to join it. Anyway, I forgot where I was. Where was I?
You were talking about all those guys and how they started this group of white men that were all, what was the mission of their group to do? What were they supposed to be doing?
They were just like a fraternity of leaders. I don't know.
Like how Rotary started in Chicago with a bunch of white men who were businessmen and wanting to lead the city. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, yeah. Alabama has a lot of history. So
yes, it does.
Yes, it does. And it's, some of the best writers come from there too. So, and you're one of them, TK. You are one of them. No, you are. And so, well, we have this wonderful book. Everybody needs to read it because everybody needs to know the story about these stories. But you also write some other books about this police officer. And she's very unique in the fact that she is a
witch, but not your normal witch.
No.
I don't do anything normal, I guess. The thing about Birmingham that is the reason why it's called the Magic Curtain is that Birmingham's nickname is the Magic City, right? And it got that name in the late 1800s when it was just a cornfield, and somebody, I don't even know who, discovered that there were all three of the ores needed to make steel near each other in the Birmingham area.
That's right.
That transformed the city overnight. And
is US Steel big there still?
No, that's gone. Most of all the steel and mining is gone now, and the University of Alabama in Birmingham is the biggest employer in the state, and it's in Birmingham, which is a very good thing because back then the pollution was terrible, and Birmingham suffered in the Depression probably more than many other cities. So it was not a good thing for that to happen. Plus, the mines and it was all owned by out-of-state people that didn't give a rip about Birmingham and the people and the problems. And all they wanted to do was control the labor force so they could have cheap labor. But I'm trying to get to the witch. So that's why Birmingham is a magic city, right?
Right.
And that's why it's behind the magic curtain,
Mhm.
a nonfiction book. But magic also plays, and these are the Magic City stories. And those 3 ores that are used to make steel are also the elements where 3 ancient houses, as in dynasties, get their magic. And they can do different things. So the houses are the House of Rose. So Rose is the protagonist, but Rose is also the name of her house because they get their magic from coal. And coal is plant life that lived billions of years ago. Yeah, that got smushed down into oil. Yeah. And it provides energy for us today, and it provides energy for the House of Rose, who are the witches, the females. And then there's House of Stone, which is limestone, which is another element used to make steel. And then the third is iron ore, and that's House of Iron. And those are the warlocks. So they get their magic from those 2 things, and they can all 3 houses have different powers that they have. And I had so much fun with that.
Are you going to write another one?
Not right now. That I'm ending that trilogy for now.
What are you working on? What are you working on now?
Well, now I'm working on a book because of you.
What? What?
Yeah. So do you remember? Oh, I know. Do you remember? Silly question. The works in progress.
Yes.
Okay. So I was just totally drained by the pandemic as far as creativity goes, at least as far as writing. My muse just up and went somewhere. And I was struggling to try to come back. And this opportunity came up to write a story. For one place to write a story for works in progress, I said, okay, a short story can't be too much, right? And so I made myself write it, and I couldn't find a character. I couldn't find a plot. I couldn't find anything. So I just made myself the character. So it starts out, with this little old lady who's an ex-police officer and martial artist and raises horses. And then I put her in trouble doing something that felt very normal to me. And it ended up on a murder scene. So that was the book. And then the anthology is works in progress, right? So I'm thinking, okay, that's a short story, but I said it was a work in progress. I better make it one.
Oh, good.
So that's what I'm working on now, is turning that short story into a novel.
All right. And have you got your mojo back?
A little bit, yeah.
Every day it gets better and better because I had a hard time reading during COVID because I just felt discombobulated. I was kind of thrown by the time and loss of company and conversation. But thank goodness for regular Zoom that works. I was able to talk to people all over the country and world. And so I just heard Zoom had downsized their employment. They need to get somebody back on, that track, whatever. So if anybody's listening from Zoom, if you're listening in, you need to fix what happened tonight. Okay, so you're working on that. Do we have a title yet or not, or nothing's
Well,
coming?
the title of the story is The Old Lady, and I hope I'll find a better one, but I'm not.
Such a great story.
I'm worried about the title. I'm just going to try to get through the book.
Well, it's such a great story. When I read it, I was like going, this is a female Columbo. It's a TV show.
Wouldn't
It's
that be
a-
great?
It's a female, you know, and she bumbles herself into these crime scenes. And then remember also that show, with Tony Shalhoub, where he had Asperger's or OCD. He had OCD, and he would figure out crimes too. So, you know, this unusual character that you would never think in a million years, but she is this little bit of a thing, and she goes in and she solves all these crimes, and then they underestimate her, and she uses her martial arts. And I just, it was such, it lifted itself off the page, that story for me. It was alive.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I don't think there's a book out there called The Old Lady. I think that's kind of catchy.
Think so? Well, maybe I'll keep it then. You're
Yeah.
kind of an expert on that.
And maybe you should use your new artistic skills to paint the cover.
Ooh. Well, we'll see.
Because she started painting during COVID, and I was really disappointed I didn't get her painting. I was bidding on her painting and I didn't get it. But I really, you know, as an artist, I really loved your work. So I want you to
Means a lot to me.
it means a lot to me because it really spoke to me. So keep painting. I firmly believe that if somebody is talented in one art, more than likely they're talented in several arts. So you have a real gift of telling a story in your paintings.
Thank you.
So I hope you think about that. I'd like to see your painting of the old lady.
I don't know. That would be a self-portrait, wouldn't it?
I had somebody say to me today, well, I'll be, you actually turned into a blue-haired old lady. I go, time to change the color. But it is pretty blue. So anyway, we are going to be looking forward to that. And is it coming anytime soon?
No.
No, it's fine.
Slowly.
I'm one of these people that I'd rather wait for it. I mean, how people in the world put out a book or every 1 or 2 years, I don't know how they do it. I mean, they must just live at that, you know. And I have gotten to the point where life has become very short, kind of every day is a day that I want to live. It's just hard for me to I want to do everything, you know. So I want to pet my cats, I want to paint, I want to rearrange, I want to, you know, be with my friends. So I understand. So we're excited. Now, girls, do you have any questions for TK that I know you're going to ask something that she wouldn't expect? Those are my favorite kind.
It's not a question. I just, TK, I remember I met you. You sat to my right at the table at Kathy's sister's restaurant in Jefferson.
Yeah.
And your sister Laura was there. Oh my God, I had more fun talking to both of you. And you know, it was like 6 or 7, 8 people. Susan Cushman sat across the table. Kathy Ransberger was there. I can't remember, but it was just fun. And you and I realized at one point we had shared the same publisher.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for my second and third novel and your House of Rose. Well, I guess the whole series.
Yeah.
And who was the publisher? I forgot.
It was Camel Press, which is now merged with Epicenter Press, which is they're established. They've been around quite a while.
Well, good. Isn't it
And then-
fun? Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I do have a question. I probably have 100 questions to ask you. But so I'm wondering, so I've experienced you as a great teacher. So one time you taught maybe it was on a Saturday on Kathy's thing. And
oh my gosh, that was fantastic.
It was fantastic. And I sat there and I have all the notes from that time because you were just such a clear and accessible teacher of writing.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if you've always had this teacher part of you, like, when you were a captain, like what kind of a captain? So here you are, can I say it? You were the first female and Jewish in Alabama.
Something
I
else.
mean, come on. I mean, talk about a feat, police captain. And I'm wondering what kind of a police captain you were. You have this teacher way about you. And then how did you come to teach? And now you're going to be teaching martial arts. And do you like teaching? And it was that part of your persona as a captain? Like, that's all I'm interested.
Very interesting. Yes, I do like teaching. I've found that if you teach something, you learn it yourself. And especially in, in martial arts, if I don't really understand something in my bones, if I have to show somebody else how to do it.
That's a good point. That's really good.
Really, yeah. Suddenly it comes to me how to explain it, and I'm explaining to them, but I'm also explaining to myself
Right.
at the same time. So yes, I do. I love the feeling of a light bulb coming on for myself and for other people. And I hadn't thought about that, Ruthie, about how I was a leader in the police department. But as a captain, I don't know, but as a lieutenant, as you were asking that, I'm remembering at one point I went back into patrol as a shift lieutenant. And I realized that the guys really had no real training about the very complicated constitutional laws that were coming down at that time. And so I was getting this a kind of a bulletin, and I have no idea where or how I got hold of that, but I had subscribed to it, and it had cases. It had like case law, and then it had a little short description of an example for police on the street. And so we would hold roll calls. I know y'all have seen roll calls on TV and in police shows. So we would do a roll call, and since I was the queen of the shift, right? I got to do what I wanted to. So we would get through what we needed to do real fast, and then I would go over one of these cases with them.
Wow.
And it was amazing. They loved it. And I think that was the first time anybody had ever really cared enough to share with them important things that they needed to know to do their job.
Well, you were a social worker first, right?
Well, that was my training. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you were bringing that in by doing these case studies or whatever, which also kind of goes in with your writing, the stories behind it and all that. Yeah, I would just have loved to be a fly on the wall to see you as a captain. I just would have been.
I would too. And I would love to hang out with you more. I wish you were closer to me, because every time I'm around here, I just have so much fun. Are you coming to Fairhope on August the 13th? You will? Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so happy. That'll be fun to see you there. And it'll be fun to see anybody. I mean, I've got my best friend from home came up to help me. She's actually trying to make me, rest and recoup. And it's been really hard, you guys, because I'm used to go, 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 go. And everybody goes, you need to rest and recoup, because it's really only been 6 days since my surgery. So, but I feel good, and I'm listening to Heidi because she's smart. And
Is she going with you to Fairhope?
No, my author friend Tracy Carnes is going, and she's going to be helping with the driving. So I don't know if you guys have met her, but she's from Shreveport, and she'll be coming, and she's got a new book about about a young girl who's involved with in the film industry during the Sundance Film Festival. I just started it. It's really, she's a screenwriter and she's a playwright and an author. And I picked her book years ago called Excess Baggage, and it was a wonderful book. And it's kind of a, you know, a little bit memoir based because you have to read it, you guys. It's a wonderful story. But we reconnected when I found her a dog, because my friend Barbara came over with a little Shih Tzu and said they were going to put this dog to sleep because they said it was vicious. And I'm going, that dog isn't even a year old and it's vicious. And they said, yeah. And the vet called her and said it was registered, a registered Shih Tzu. So we put it up on Facebook, and it was either going to go to my friend that's the Channel 12, used to be the Channel 12 weatherman in Shreveport, or Tracy, and she beat him to the punch. She drove over and came and got this Radley. She's named him Radley after To Kill a Mockingbird. But we kind of reconnected, and we're doing a booth together in Shreveport at the art space. She's a floral designer, and she repurposes furniture, but we're going to be going down together. So I know we're going to get to see a lot of people there. First of all, my chapter, Emily Bell will be down there with my chapter, and Fairhopes. If you guys have never been, it's a beautiful place. Page and Palette's a very nice bookstore and has a bar, and it's just. And then there's Suzanne Hudson and Joe Formicella, who are my two author friends that we became friends years ago when they walked into my shop in 2005. And we've been friends ever since. So I'm glad you're going to be there. Are you going to stay the night or just coming in for the day?
I'm gonna come in for the whole weekend, actually.
Oh, great.
And you know, in the old lady, the story that I'm writing, she wanted to go to Fairhope, where she had to go to. So Fairhope is going to be in this book.
Well, it should be, because it's very picturesque and very arts centric, and it's just got fascinating. I know Suzanne took me to meet Knowles, the artist from there that everybody thinks is from Berlin, because he was always featured in the Berlin galleries, and he's from Birmingham. He's from Fairhope, Alabama, and he's actually in hospice now. But I'm going to go by to present him something because I really liked him as an artist. And then there's just so many things to go and do there. So if you ever get a chance to go there, go.
It's a beautiful.
That's just in August 13th. So we're talking 10 days, something like that.
Very
TK,
soon.
what's your character's first name?
I named her Juanita Louise.
So Juanita, so you'll actually be Juanita when you're there, because you'll be channeling.
Yeah, I'm sort of channeling her, and then I have a friend who was also a police captain named Juanita, so I'm channeling her too.
They're both
good.
Juanita.
Yeah.
What's her middle name?
I don't even know Juanita's middle name, but my character's Juanita Louise because her sidekick kind of character is a Black woman who is also a police officer, and her name is Delta Theta, named after a fraternity of sorority. And so Theta becomes, when they're getting ribbing each other, she's Thelma, and so it's Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise, that's perfect.
You know, that's my middle name is Louise. The Kathy L is Louise. So that's
okay.
That's very cool. Well, I'm going to be looking for the old lady. You guys, don't you think that's a great title?
I like it.
How could you forget it? You know?
Well, it is a great title, except that I just always think about your writing, TK, is so like your audience could be much younger people. When I read your humor, it isn't a middle-aged woman's humor. It kind of is young. I mean, young people would get a kick out of it. So the demographic, that's what I would be worried about. It was who would
It's gonna,
steer
you're gonna reel them in with that painting, because it's gonna be that painting of the old lady that's not going to fit the, the book and the title. You got to make her pretty sassy.
Sassy.
Okay. Sass.
Maybe you should work on that for me, Kathy.
I will.
Okay.
Make you do a painting of an old lady.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me read the book and I will.
Okay.
I just did one for Anju of Rakesh. Why not? I would love to do book covers. I would because when I read, I envision how these people look. And I bet you I could capture you and this character and a young person go, that's an old lady. Then I need to, think of Iris, the Iris with the big and the jewels up and down. Her arm. We'll come
well,
up.
she's gonna be in a keto costume or something. I would tell you, Kathy, I was going through your website and looking at your beautiful work there for sale, and there is one painting. So the novel that I've been working on for a long time, it's called Illumination Ink, and part of it comes from Africa. And what we found out was that this ink, which is magic ink in the novel, comes from an acacia tree, and the acacia tree gives off a gum, and they make these interesting inks from it. And there's this character called the Illuminator who makes these magical inks for her clients and stuff. And so when I was going through your thing, I had just seen a photograph in Cameroon of what an acacia tree looked like. And there were elephants around the acacia tree. And then I went on, it was just looking at your art, and there's this picture of, that one that you have of the tree with the roots coming out of it. It looks just like an acacia tree.
Are you talking about the one that's kind of got like
it's like an umbrella? It's like, yeah.
With the wire and the moss?
The wire and the moss.
Yeah, it's over in Shreveport right now in the art space.
It's spectacular.
I still have it.
It's spectacular.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
I don't have that kind of money, but anyway.
You could use it as the cover.
Well, all I'm telling you is I saw that and I went, when the time comes, we have to have a talk, because I think it would be so cool if this tree, and that somehow there's this ink dripping from it, because it's a magical ink that illuminates.
Magical tree. I am so there. I'm so there. And I paint with alcohol ink, but I'll do a little research on that acacia stuff. So, well, you guys, I think we've kind of run out of time. And so we'll continue this conversation with the blogs this week. She's got them all done, every one of them. They're
funny. They're so funny.
Oh my God. I just, and she's emailing me, how do I do this? And I tell her, and then she just gives them all to me at once. And I'm going, wow. I mean, good job. I mean, thank you. So
TK, I'll go back and catch up.
Yeah, please do, Kathleen.
So we'll all be together soon at Girlfriend Weekend, and we will all, you guys, I got so many great things. We're going to have a Bollywood and Books blog and panel, and we got exciting people. We're going to have a comedy panel, and I'm working on the panels now because we've got the keynotes. There may be a few more surprises because Casey Cowers has got somebody pretty magnificent that may be coming, but we'll know closer to the date because of the age of the person. So I'm very excited about a Girlfriend Weekend. I've never been to Amelia Island. I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm going in on Thursday. So if anybody gets there early, we can go to dinner. I know Lisa Hodgkins is coming in for Virginia early, so we can go to dinner. And then the next day, I'm going to schedule a time when we can take the boat ride that goes into Georgia. It's supposed to be amazing. And then there's a few really neat places. The downtown is very charming and picturesque and full of, just new possibilities. So we'll have fun, lots of history. And I will see you, TK, in Fairhope. Are you getting in there on Friday?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to get in on Thursday night because it's so far for me to drive. I need to set up at I'm doing a gallery show and a workshop with local artist Nancy Rea. We're doing a collaborative workshop of alcohol ink, and she's doing tar paper painting, and we're both going to be doing each other's art. But Ruthie, I was going to tell you, I'm doing an alcohol ink workshop at Girlfriend Weekend. So I've only got one person signed up. So if I only get one or two, we're doing it in my hotel room. And it's Janet McCauley, who's the head of the chapter of Beaufort, South Carolina, Jonathan's chapter. And she wanted to learn how to do it. So, but if we get more, we'll do it in some part of the convention center. I just don't want to, go in there with just two people. We'll just do it in my room. I'll set it up. But we're going to be making beach art. We're going to be making a beach glass frame with a painting to go inside of alcohol ink. We're going to be doing a beach wine bottle, painting it that we're going to make into a patio for our table lights. And then we're going to be hand painting our own wine glass for the ball. So it'll be kind of a learning alcohol ink, and then also having a cool personal souvenir to use and take home. So I'm really excited, and it's up on the website where you can sign up, or just call me and I'll give you the details. So let's pray. I'm going to get on Zoom and see what's going on here, but I'm going to download this, put this up on YouTube, everybody, and share. I hope everybody will start subscribing. We have more members on our book club pages than we do on our channel, and the channel is where all you guys are. So I need author help to get people to subscribe. It's free. And then you can go on there anytime. And every Friday I post a panel from Girlfriend Weekend 2021. And they're fun to see. They're all kind of a blur to me now because it seems like so long ago, but they're all really good. And we'll do it again this year. So any questions? Yes, Ruthie.
No, I'm just giving a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thank you, TK. Good to see you, Kathleen.
Good to see you,
guys
Ruthie.
are
Thanks
the
for
best.
calling
I'm going
me.
to call us four from now on, the four ding dongs. Okay, let's pray that the next thing I've got coming up, what is coming up? Oh, just so you know, it's the first Sunday night of the month, so we're going to be watching Edward Scissorhands. So are you going to be there, Ruthie?
I can't be. I'm going to be out of town.
Okay. Well, I may be doing it by myself, but Edward
The summer
Scissorhands.
is hard. The summer.
I know. We're going to be, or it may be just me, but I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies, and he's kind of been in the limelight lately. And
Was Kathy Bates? That wasn't where she played the Avon lady. I've
No.
got the wrong.
No, there's I
Yes.
can't think of the woman who plays in it.
Who played a real estate agent, right?
Was it Winona Ryder that was in
Winona
it?
Ryder was in it, and then there's this lady. She's iconic in movies. She's a redhead, and he does her hair, and she's like, and it's just. I went as Edward Scissorhands one time for Halloween, and I'll share a picture. I might use the picture when I share the reminder of the Zoom, which you guys from now on. The correct Zoom is going to be posted first on our book club page, and then I'll post it everywhere else. The book club page, because for
But
some
Kathy,
reason,
can you just try to keep it the same link? Because here's the thing.
I copied it from the
Yeah,
from the website to those pages.
I know. Because the reason I'm saying it is I keep all your links in my Outlook so that I don't have to go onto Facebook and find it on
What I
Facebook.
can't figure out. I went to the website and copied the link and just moved it to the pages, and they're all different numbers.
Oh, that is weird.
I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of somebody from Zoom and tell them what's the deal.
Well, thank you. Everybody
Thank you,
sleep
everybody.
well. Bye-bye. Good to see you.
Yay, and we'll see you in the
Congrats,
vlog
TK.
tomorrow. It's all about the story. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.